The South Dakota Stories, Volume 4. I remember wondering why I'd ever visit South Dakota in the winter. But then again, why hadn't I? There was so much wilderness to explore, so many ways to restore my soul, and so many landscapes that put a smile on my chilly face. So why would I visit South Dakota in the winter? 'Cause this is where winter was meant to be. There's so much South Dakota, so little time.
Go Ford for your next truck or SUV and find an easier way to buy with Woodhouse Ford today and experience the convenience of buying with Woodhouse Ford. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on a 2023 Ford F-150 XLT plus 3.9% APR for 60 months with approved credit. $299 doc fee due at signing. Security deposit waived. Expires 1/02/2024.
Hi, this is Crystal Hardison from Southeastern Livingston Center. I'm the director, and you are listening to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Hey everyone, it's Jim Chapman with Local Leaders, the podcast, and I want to make you aware of a fantastic deal they have going on right now at Fit Body Boot Camp in Denham Springs, Louisiana. If you go to the link getfitdenhamsprings.com/local leaders, you can get $30 off of the regular price of $129 for 30 days of classes. Go to the link, click it, sign up. 30-day classes for only $99 through that link. It's a special deal offered to all of our listeners at Local Leaders, the podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Local Leaders, the podcast. And today I have a lady sitting across from me that I wrote a little intro for. I did research on her, as I like to do on this show. And so Alyssa's life wasn't always happily ever after. Because of this, she knows that sometimes the best stories are not. At least not immediately. She knows that sometimes real life comes with grit and darkness, so her stories do too. She loves to read anything and everything she can get her hands on, but she has an extra soft spot for fantasy. She lives in southern Louisiana, where the food is amazing, the people like their tea sweet, and the stories are full of soul. Now, what I just read you was from the lady sitting right across from me's About Me page on her website, fatedinfantasy.com. Allyssa Day, who writes under the pen name A. Lonergan, has had 21 books published at the age of 27 in the ultra-popular genre of fantasy. When she started, why she started, and what drives her to write is only part of her story. So today we'll get answers to those questions and much more. So with that awesome introduction, welcome Allyssa to Local Leaders Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too, and out of breath from that from that intro. I actually went to your website, love it. It clicked on the About Me, and I'm like, I wonder when she's going to realize that she actually wrote that, not me. So, and you are a very special personality. We did a little pre-meeting, and I was just really touched by your story and your amazing ability to write. 21 books already, and you're only 27. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a little strange to think of.
I'll tell you, some people, their whole lives, if they can write one book, they're like, man, if I could just write a book. And
right.
So you've already done 21 of those, and you're not stopping anytime soon, right?
No way.
So we're going to get into all of that with you, but I'm going to talk a little bit about you personally. You've been married to 8 years to your high school sweetheart. Now that already sounds like a book right there. It sounds like you're writing your own book there.
It was a little bit. Enemies to lovers, all the way.
Yeah. One of your books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a 7-year-old son.
I do, yeah.
Very good. And here, get this, y'all. She can write 80 words per minute.
Yeah.
Now, is that typing? Is that, when you say write, you're talking freehand or type?
No, typing.
Wow.
Yeah.
80 words a minute. To put that in perspective, folks, because I did research, the average is 36 words per minute.
Yeah.
That's average.
I sprint with some other authors. We do it over Discord, and it times you while you write.
Yeah.
And I'm always like blasting through over 67, 70 words per minute. And
you're so competitive, Allyssa.
I really am. And they get so mad, but I'd like annihilate 10,000 words in just a few hours, and they're like at 300.
Wow, that is unbelievable. I mean, I was thinking about that last night, and I'm like, that is a word every like half second. I mean, it just about. It's quick. It's fast.
My brain like fires
at
a different level.
Yeah, and like you definitely got the keyboard memorized. I mean,
yeah,
there's no doubt
I've
about
destroyed like 2 keyboards. My husband says I try to like pound through the keys. He gets mad.
So funny.
Yeah.
Whenever you get angry, it's worse. That's so funny. She's typing again. Yeah. So really impressed me right there. So obviously you write 21 books, you get pretty good at typing. There's no doubt about that in all likelihood. Now you can speed read also.
Yes,
so not only can you type fast, you can read fast, which I guess will be required. Now tell me about that. Where was the point in your life where you're like, man, I can read pretty fast? How did you discover that?
I don't know. I just started reading. I liked horror. R.L. Stine was like, he was my favorite author.
Was that the Goosebumps guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I liked the Fear Street novels. Those,
okay. Yeah.
I loved the prologues. I loved everything. Like he took this whole world and just, I don't know, like made like 30 or 45 books. And I read every single one of them. And I think it was when I did AR tests for the first time that I was like getting tons of AR points, and I was finishing them rather quickly, and I knew how to comprehend them, that I was like, oh, hey, I don't think this is average. Like, I don't think this is what other people do.
Yeah, the teachers probably were like, you're not really reading, 14 books a
Yeah, they would get aggravated. They'd take my books from me. I mean.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And, you bring up R.L. Stine. So my favorite books at a young age were like those. You remember the Which Way books where you would choose your own adventure? And so you would read like a chapter, and then it would say, if you want to go left and open the door, turn to page 63. If you want to go right, turn to page 72. Oh, you've got to check those out.
I'm going to have to. That sounds very interesting.
It's like an adventure book, and the story changes depending on the choices you make, because you turn to a specific page, and you can like die, or you can go through the whole story if you make all the right choices.
That's wild.
It's cool. Yeah. I don't think they do many of those anymore. And when you go on eBay to try to buy them, they're expensive. They're like about $50. They're like collector's items.
Yeah, because I've never heard of anybody who writes books like that.
Yeah. Choose your own adventure books.
I'm going to look that up. Out. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I used to love those things. And then they had these books that were monsters books. So it was like King Kong or whatever, and have a picture of King Kong on the front of it, and would read, and it'd be like a story. I just remember reading those when I was little, like candy, man, every day. It was crazy. Anyway, let's get back to your books. First of all, you live in Watson.
I do. Yep.
So right down the road from where we're recording right now, local gal, and all of that stuff. And the community, one of the reasons I really was excited about getting you on was you are such a kind of, I call you a gem in the community. You're someone that is very unique in your accomplishments, especially, I mean, you're not 80, you know what I mean? Like, for your age, you have accomplished so much. And I thought it's very important to get that out there. So we want to get into your writing. Now, you started writing books at the age of 14. What kind of led you into that?
I had written songs and poetry for a few years. I was really into that. I needed this outlet for how depressed I was and upset with my life, and I was bullied really badly in school, so I needed just something to help me feel
Yeah.
And that was that. It wasn't until I attempted suicide when I was 14 that I started writing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Writing kind of saved
Like
your life
books,
in
yeah.
a way, right? I mean, when you start writing these books at that very young age, and when did you kind of show your work to somebody? So you wrote something, and was it a boyfriend or was it a teacher, or did you just kind of keep it all inside?
I think I shared it with a friend.
Yeah.
Because one of my friends from middle school actually, she reached out to me a few days ago, and she was telling me about how she's reading my books, and she was so proud of me for continuing to do what I love, because she always loved my books then. And I'm thinking, wait, I shared those back then on loose leaf paper? What? Yeah.
That's how you were writing them back then on loose leaf? Wow. Like actual manuscripts.
Yes.
Of those.
That's probably why I have the beginning stages of carpal tunnel.
BJ Pawn and Gun in Denham Springs wants to buy your unwanted gold jewelry, gold coins, and gold bullion. With 30 years of experience operating in the Livingston Parish area, BJ Pawn wants to be your source when selling your gold. So stop by BJ Pawn today for a no-obligation offer. BJ Pawn, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Even at that age, you're writing these books, and obviously, well, I would think, I don't know, maybe you knew, but at that age, did you already kind of know, I'm going to be a writer? That was a goal of yours, or was it more or less just because you enjoyed doing it?
I think that the dream was definitely there, that I wanted to. I just didn't know, like, I didn't think that it was ever going to be possible for me. Like, I just thought,
hard to believe.
Yeah, like, I'm not good enough. Imposter syndrome is, I didn't even know what that was until last year.
Yeah.
But I've been dealing with it my whole life. Like, you're just, you're not a big deal. Like, don't put yourself out there. Don't, do what you're doing, I guess,
Right. Yeah,
So-
it's a great point.
Yeah.
So you're doing it, and you're just, it's almost like therapy to you. And in the back of your mind, maybe you're thinking, maybe I'll be able to do something. It seems pretty good. It's interesting.
It was just a dream. It was like something like, being a celebrity.
Yeah.
I just never thought that I would get to a place that it would actually happen.
Yeah.
College, the plan was finish high school, go to college, get a degree, do something like be a doctor, a lawyer, do something not creative.
Yes.
Being creative wasn't like a big thing in my family. That wasn't like a career option.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And, you're certainly a creative person. You can, people have personalities about them, and even down to your hair, which I love, absolutely dig
Thank
your
you.
hair. But that's part of your creative personality, right? And you stand out in a good way. And those things are very important when you have that type of personality, that it come out and people see that. And I would almost say it's subconsciously, just in the way you are and who you are. But one of those ways that you got that out is through your writing. And what blows my mind is, when I think about getting a book published, for example, that's the part that blows my mind. Like, I'm not intimidated about writing it. I think I could write it. It's after that, like, okay, so I wrote this thing. What do I do now? So we're going to get into some options with you and another company that you have a little later on, and kind of talk about that. But you wrote these books. I guess we'll skip to, when did you get your first book published, and what book was it?
My first book published was, I think it was in 2015 or 2016. It was around that time I had a little baby. And
what age were you at that point?
I think I was 20 or 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I had my little boy when I was 19. And so he was like a year old or 2 years old at that point. But it was actually a romance.
Amazing.
It was an erotic.
Awesome.
It sounds so weird admitting that over this.
What was it called?
It was called Games.
Games.
And it was under a different pen name, which I'm not even going to say on here. It's not published anymore. I took it off. It's gone. It does not exist. It was mainly just to get my foot in the door. I knew people who wrote books and who'd published. I knew lots of romance authors, and I thought, this is how I do it.
Yeah.
I've got to write a romance, and I gotta just get in the door with them, thinking like the whole book world is the same, which it is not.
Yeah, no.
I found out later when I tried to write my first fantasy, young adult fantasy from there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is completely different world. The designers are different. The marketing is different. The demographics, everything that comes down to writing a book was drastically just strange.
Right.
Because I was so used to the writing erotica and writing romance that when it wasn't like a passion for me, it wasn't something that I enjoyed. It was something that I was actually highly embarrassed of. I did not want my family to know about it or my community to know about it. Church.
You'd be surprised who reads.
No, I know that now. I have a TikTok. I have book talk. So I definitely see, especially now that I write predominantly fantasy.
Yeah.
I really see the differences, and I'm like, why did I think that I could even do that?
Right.
Because it's such a switch.
Writing the book is only like half the battle, right? I mean, that's almost, you don't want to say the easy part because that is the hard part, but you got a lot of work yet to do once it's written.
Yeah, I get lots of messages. I get lots of people who message me like, hey, I'm thinking about writing a book, or people looking for advice.
Sure.
And I'm like, hey, I look at the message and I'm like, you're thinking about writing a book. Okay, well, what kind of book are you thinking about writing? And then I'm like, I can't really do anything for you until you write the book. Like,
Yeah.
I have no advice.
Right.
Past, you have to just do it. You just have to sit down and quiet your mind, or hey, play music. Sometimes I play music. I actually have a playlist for my newest series that's releasing next month.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's a workout playlist. I've got it on Spotify, and I'm going to link it when the book releases.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, so like everybody is different in their writing process and their creative process. You see painters who like jam out to, screamo or classical. Everybody has like a different like get in the zone thing.
Yes, absolutely. And writers are no exception. That may surprise some people. They may think they're locked up in a closet and they're,
the writing cave.
I need inspiration. Yeah, they're like the guy on The Shining or whatever. And, they need inspiration just like everybody else. And music inspires. Mm-hmm. I mean, and sometimes it'll put you in kind of a mood, I would imagine, from a writer's perspective.
I cannot listen to Hardy, like, at all, because him and Morgan Wallen, it's like something about like the heartbreaker it's like a heartbreaker country, and I hear it and I'm like, oh, there goes a contemporary sweet small town romance.
Yeah.
And the story and I'm like, I can't listen to it unless I'm ready to get in the zone to write something out of what I've been writing.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you get at some point you get a book published. And, millions of dollars, right? Start pouring in. Is that not how that works?
No, not even in traditional publishing does it work like that.
It doesn't work like not even if you're John Grisham.
Maybe if you're like Brandon,
Stephen King?
Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, yeah.
Like him, who did a Kickstarter, and for a book that he hadn't even written yet, he just like had this premise, and he's like, hey, here it is, and I think he raised like $3 million.
Wow.
It was the most insane thing I've ever seen in
That's
the publishing world ever.
Yeah. Is it cutthroat, the publishing world? Can it be?
There is a lot of drama. I think in any profession there is drama where people think they're very entitled to certain things. They're entitled. Somebody tried to trademark the word cocky.
Oh.
Got away with it 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then started sending cease and desist letters to every single author on Amazon that had cocky in the title or in the blurb. And
That is so insane.
but somebody
It's an English language word.
but people do it. People do
crazy.
the craziest things. And somebody else tried to trademark another word, very common one a few months ago. There's just like, or you get a huge following, or you get like a cult following.
The South Dakota Stories, Volume 4. I remember wondering why I'd ever visit South Dakota in the winter. But then again, why hadn't I? There was so much wilderness to explore, so many ways to restore my soul, and so many landscapes that put a smile on my chilly face. So why would I visit South Dakota in the winter? 'Cause this is where winter was meant to be. There's so much South Dakota, so little time.
Go Ford for your next truck or SUV and find an easier way to buy with Woodhouse Ford today. And experience the convenience of buying with Woodhouse Ford. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on a 2023 Ford F-150 XLT, plus 3.9% APR for 60 months with approved credit. $299 doc fee due at signing. Security deposit waived. Expires 1/02/2024.
Yeah. And I don't know if I don't think I have that.
Oh, you totally have that. I'm part of your cult.
You're the leader of it.
The leader of the cult. Sandra Richard has been in the business of selling homes for over 20 years. This award-winning realtor brings the perfect blend of professionalism, integrity, and client satisfaction to every buying and selling transaction. A passion for both her clients and her community makes Sandra the perfect choice when buying or selling your home. So if you're in need, call the Cajun Lady, Sandra Richard, at 225-955-5484 or visit her on the web at sandrasellshouses.com. Sandra Richard, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Some of the publishing companies seem like, and look, you maybe not can say this, but I can, seem like they kind of screw people over a little bit, to say the least.
Yes.
I mean, some of them,
100%, yeah.
You know, they get a big chunk of the pie, to say the least.
I follow a traditional author on TikTok, and she's talked a lot about like what they've done to her. And she said you get like a chunk of money, like for the story. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you have to sell a certain amount of books just to get to a hardback. And then after that, like if you want to get another chunk of money, like you only see a little bit each time you sell a certain amount of books.
Yes.
So once you stop selling, or like if you just sell one or two, like you really don't see money ever again. And that's why I'm indie, because I don't want to have to deal with somebody else telling me, hey, your book is, we're only going to do ebooks, or we don't like this idea, so we're going to go this way with it, or you know, whatever.
Don't give them that control.
Right.
That's and when you say go indie, would that be like you're your own publisher, basically?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good and very smart move. I think that nobody else has the right to value your book other than you and the reader.
Right.
You know, that's my feeling.
I think that another thing that is cutthroat too, just to go back to that, is some authors are just really jealous. I think that that's in every profession, that people just get jealous when they see you succeed.
Yeah.
So I've dealt with a lot of authors try to hurt me, try to, you know, they review my books. They haven't read them, or they have read them. And I think that that's so tacky to read a book in your genre and then to leave a bad review.
Just don't leave any review.
Right. Like, just don't say
if you didn't
anything.
like it.
There's no point. Like, you have a public platform and you're tearing people down for no reason. Like, I would never do that. In the beginning, I did do it. I wasn't doing it to hurt other people. I just didn't like the book. So I'm like, hey, I have a platform. I'm going to review. And then I was like, and then I got my first 1-star review.
Yes.
And I was like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah.
I hurt these people. So I went back and I deleted every single review. And I only give 5-star reviews to the books that I truly love. And actually in my newsletter, I will sometimes go back and I'll say, hey, I loved these books, or I really, really liked these books. These are the books that are similar to mine, or hey, they're not similar to mine, but hey, you might like them anyways.
Yeah, 100%. And something may or may not be your cup of tea. It doesn't mean it's a bad piece of work.
Right. Not every book is for everybody.
Period. I mean, some of the biggest classics all the time, you've got someone that says, I didn't enjoy it.
Or hey, that was trash.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to say?
Yeah, Gone with the Wind is trash. Really?
Oh, no.
Maybe you're in the minority.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So let's talk about your book specifically. And I want to kind of bring up your series. Because you do write, and kind of popular in your genre, especially as well as others, is series books. Mm-hmm. So you might have book 1, book 2, book 3. 2 in particular for you, the Demi Chronicles, and also the Crimson Pack trilogy.
Yeah.
And then I noticed your new book is part of a Crimson something else. Crimson, what is it? Help me
it's
with
the
that.
Crimson Pack Rogue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I'm interested already. So when you're writing, do you start out with the series in mind, or does it just kind of morph into that?
No.
No.
I don't have. So Transfixed, that won the Louisiana Indie Author Project in 2019,
Yes.
was a dream.
Yes.
I woke up from
Huge
it
honor.
and I was like, I got to write this down. Oh my gosh, I got to write this down. I had no plans to write a witch book in New Orleans. But this dream like just catapulted me into this whole different universe. And I hadn't planned on it being a 4-book series. In fact, I've thought about kind of compiling it, making it a duology, mainly because at the time I thought that books were a certain length. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's my deadline. I didn't try to push past it. Like I didn't try to like go the extra mile.
Yeah. So you're talking like words, so many words. I got you.
So I did like the absolute minimum, and I look at them and I'm like, those books are so little. Oh my gosh. Like, and so I have thought about like, I designed the covers on those, actually the newest covers. And I've thought about going back and redesigning it and just doing a duology, but I have so much on my plate with all of my other books that I'm just kind of like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It can wait. It's fine.
You're only one person. Yes. But those series is, they are popular, and it's, I guess another question for you is, and this might seem silly to you to even ask, but do you know the ending of the book before you know the beginning?
Sometimes.
Really? Wow, that's intriguing.
So the book that releases next month, The Witch and the Wolf, which is the Crimson Pack Rogues, which is a spinoff from my Crimson Pack trilogy, I knew the ending. I knew how I was going to, like, I didn't know like the last sentence, but I knew like
how it was
what I was going to reveal, because I do like a cliffhanger.
Yeah, me too.
Cliffies are, everybody hates them, but like it's just it's a thing. Like it's gonna drive. It drives TV series too. The TV series ends on a cliffhanger. People just don't realize it as hard, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are people who leave like 1-star reviews for people who have cliffhangers in their books.
Oh my god, that's so
like,
silly.
I loved the book, but I give 1-star reviews for cliffhangers. Excuse me.
So silly.
But yeah, so I knew how I was going to end it. I knew the idea, but I didn't really, I didn't know where I was going to end it. So I just finished typing the end the other day.
Yeah.
And I sat there with my editor. I'm like sending her voice memos over Facebook. And I'm like, I hope that I ended it in the right place, because I had no idea where I was going to stop it.
Yeah.
But I knew like it was coming to a close.
Let me, and that's, I know two people I've met in life that are actually good friends of mine that read the ending first.
I know a few people who
That
do that.
seems absolutely nuts. And I'm like, why do you do that? Well, what if something happens to me and I never know the end, like I die or something? I'm like, that is a really
so
dark way of
morbid.
looking. Yes, but
Oh my gosh.
they think like, and they don't like surprises. They want to know the end first.
Gives them anxiety. I understand.
Yes.
I tried that in high school, reading the last line
Mm-hmm.
of the book. And it gave me more questions than answers. And I was so confused. And I was like, I don't know if I want to read this.
Yeah, I couldn't believe
I have to get
people
hooked.
actually do that.
Yeah,
But
I have to get hooked.
I do too, and I've got to live through the book, and you know, a well written book, in my opinion, you basically. You know, you get engrossed in it to the point you feel like you're there. You feel like you can relate to the characters and you
Yeah.
care about the characters and all of that. So from an author's standpoint, do you kind of live in your characters a little bit? Like they say actors, I'll give you an example. This is interesting. So there's several actors that are well known. And when they're doing a movie and they have to be a character, you know, they'll almost go nuts. Like if it's
take on that persona.
Yes, to the point that they have to take a break after that film to get back to reality because they become that character.
I read that about Heath Ledger.
Yes.
I read that was very hard for him, and that was why everything happened.
Yeah.
But I definitely do live through my characters, and it's very strange because I grieve with them. In one of my newest books, she loses somebody very special to her. And I lost my papa last year. So I grieved with this character. I grieved through her loss. I got extra sassy. I got super snarky. My husband's like, "This isn't you." And I'm like, well,
kind of a mouth
there's
on you
probably
today.
like 9 million people in my head. So yeah, you don't really know who I am anyways.
Yeah. That's so funny.
But yeah, I've definitely lived through my characters. It's very strange to explain.
Yeah.
It's very different. But I have taken on a lot of personality traits that I've written, and I kind of have to stop myself. I'm like, okay, you're taking it too far.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But look, man, that makes for great writing. You know, when you're really living in those characters, and you don't have to tell me if you have done this. You don't have to tell me which character it is. But have you ever written a book and let's say there's a character in it, and you've looked at it and said, "Oh my gosh, that's me." I just wrote about myself.
Several.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so I feel like
interesting.
I write myself into a lot of the books. My experiences, the things that I've gone through, or like I was explaining it to my therapist a few weeks ago. Like I feel like I can imagine realities for myself. Like my husband wanted to be a Navy SEAL diver, so like.
Yeah.
I wrote Euphoria.
Yeah.
I had this dream like that I was going to be alone through my pregnancy, that he was going to leave me and he was going to be a SEAL. And so like a reality like kind of formed from that, like a different idea of what my life could have been.
Yeah. Oh, that is so interesting. And look, y'all, I'll show it to the camera. If you're listening, you just Google it. But it's called Euphoria, and it's about a Navy SEAL diver.
Yes.
And
a small town in Louisiana.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he has great hair,
He
as you can
does.
see. Great hair. Us bald-headed guys notice great hair, even on dudes. Yes, we do. So interesting book, it sounds like, and it is part of the Brothers Bound series?
Yeah, so they're each standalone. So this focuses on, I think it's Elise and Jace. Sorry, it's been a few years. I can never,
all right.
once the book is done.
You've only got like 4 trillion characters probably, so I forgive
Once
you.
the book is done, it's really hard for me to remember things about it. Like
Really?
it's like it's gone.
Yeah.
So I have
You
to
probably
reread.
almost have to separate yourself out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, when it comes to podcasting local business, I want perfection. And when it comes to banking, I want personal service, and that's why I bank with Hancock Whitney. Hancock Whitney Bank not only provides me with a local business banker, but also the experience and knowledge only a bank with a history of over 100 years can provide. With over 230 branches in the Gulf South, Hancock Whitney can service all of your banking needs, including commercial lending, small and large business accounts, personal bank accounts, and much more. For more information, visit HancockWhitney.com. Hancock Whitney Bank, your dream, their mission.
So, in this one, it's Jason Elise, and then it goes on to another character, which is Derek, and I think it's a Native American. This one's like Native American based. I really wanted to focus on different cultures. I love making my books like culturally diverse.
Yeah.
So, it's about a runaway Navajo woman who experienced a lot of abuse as a child, and she ran away, and she experienced a lot of abuse through that runaway. And she meets Derek, this Navy SEAL, who is...
Of course, another Navy SEAL.
Who is super grumpy. And she's got a lot,
as all Navy SEALs
he's got
are.
a lot of secrets. She's got a lot of secrets. And so it's like a tortured past kind of book. Like you just really have no idea what's going to happen.
Those sound awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, so those are standalones. I am planning on writing... I already wrote the third book, actually. It's finished.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to have a cover made, and then I miscarried. And so the project kind of just didn't feel like I was ready for it.
Yeah. Timing was
awful.
Yeah.
So I haven't done anything with the third book, but my editor is breathing down my throat. This is my favorite book you've ever written. You need to put it out to the world. I'm like, okay, Brittany, okay.
Yeah. Chill out, Brittany.
She's going to watch this and be like, oh my gosh.
So let me ask you, speaking of editors, like when I think of editors, I think of someone that, hey, you need commas here, you need hyphens here, you don't need hyphens here, whatever. You're grammatically incorrect in this sentence. Whatever it
Restructure
may
this
be.
sentence.
Do they try to change the book?
No. Some editors do.
Yeah.
I am very fortunate to have the best editor.
Yeah.
She just gives me suggestions. So like she'll highlight it and say the wording doesn't flow very well here. Or she'll say, like I've worded it in some direction, so she'll retype it in like a highlight. So I can choose if I want to take her advice or not. But for the most part, I just really suck at commas and hyphens and dashes and semicolons.
Yeah, totally.
400 edits, and that is all they are.
Yeah, the grammar police are all over me all the time, and I'm like, look,
and she catches typos too, like just things like that.
Yeah, very cool. And as long as they don't like say, I don't think he should have died at the end, or whatever in a book.
Well, I do ask her advice.
Yeah.
Because she was a fan first. She was a reader first. She loved my books and believed in me. And so I want her opinion. I want her to tell me, am I going too far? Is this too much? Are my fans going to hate me? Am I going to get blacklisted from this?
That's so funny. Well, and so you've got some great options. And one of the things that's really appealing about what you write is you have several different subjects there. So maybe you're someone that is into fantasy and you love it to death and you're a Harry Potter guy or gal, whatever. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're someone that's into like romance, Navy SEAL type stuff. And look, you got something for them, right?
Yeah, I write heart books. I write the books that keep me up at night. I don't really write to what's popular. And hey, I probably lose a couple $1,000s a month by not writing to trend. But
what would be considered trend? Like 50 Shades type stuff?
No, like monster romance.
Monster romance.
Like,
what the heck is monster romance? Give me an example.
Tentacles,
really?
Krakens. Yeah, that is a huge. I've seen in the fantasy world, like Krampus. There was a Krampus one that came out, and I was like, oh, the cover looks really great. And Krampus, I don't really know anything about that, and so I read they give a
like a synopsis,
forewarning, a trigger warning page, and it's like not human anatomy, and I was like,
you were like,
nope,
oh
for me.
my.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Not for me. This is weird.
Yeah. I was like, okay, not every book is for everybody. This one is not for me.
That's it.
But yeah, so that and like blood play and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Things like that are very popular right now. Just like very taboo things. Also smut. Spicy books. Book talk is the spicy spot. And I don't write that.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for me when people are like, I want the sluttiest book. And I'm like, I don't. I don't write that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know who you are. You ain't getting that kind of book.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I have a mom.
That is very popular. You write great books.
Thank you.
In great genres as well. I mean, fantasy is a huge genre, and it's popular, right? I mean,
I think it's like right under romance. Romance is the top #1 selling genre.
Yeah.
And then I think fantasy is like maybe 2 or 3. It's very high up there.
Very good. So speaking of that, what has been your most successful series or book that you've written so far, if you had to pick? And I know they're hard to pick.
I have 2 actually. Like I have a backlist that doesn't really sell very well, which is like Transfixed, which is New Orleans. It's
a great name.
I loved it was Transfixed, Fixated, Enraptured, or Captivated and Enraptured.
Yeah.
And I that one doesn't sell very well. That series. My fairy tale retellings don't sell very well.
They're gonna sell well now. We're gonna promote the heck out of them.
And my small, like sweet small town romances. They sell so well at like book signings.
Yes.
But my best sellers are like my Crimson Pack trilogy, and my Tales from the Mirror Realm, which is my high fantasy adventure romance.
Yeah.
So the Crimson Pack. I feel like it's what propelled me. Like that is what changed my life as an author.
Yeah.
And it was actually a dream too. So
yeah. And you can see and I'll put this on the screen too, so people can see it, but the artwork is appealing. Yeah. And, even the choice of font.
Oh, I love typography.
Yes. Yeah. So everything about it's appealing. And we were talking about before the show, folks, even the feel of the book. It's a matte finish, soft feel. And look, that matters when you're reading. Mm-hmm. Not everybody reads off a Kindle.
It's an experience.
Me being one, I want to read a book. Yeah. Something I can put a bookmark in. I'm just not that guy. I'm not the Kindle guy.
I like
it's
it
convenient,
both ways.
But yeah.
The South Dakota Stories, Volume 5. She used to dread the winter, the cold, driving in the snow. But that was before she started spending it in the right place. Now, wandering the snow puts a smile on her face, and breathing in the landscapes warms her spirit more than any coat. Because if South Dakota taught her anything, it's that it's never too cold to have too much fun. There's so much South Dakota, so little time.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of questions from guests. Here's one from Emma.
So, what's your favorite number?
That's easy, Emma. My favorite number is 14,839,552. With Buffet Your Way, you can order any pizza you want and we'll bake it and make sure you get the first slice. And with all our crusts, sauces, and toppings, we can make you 14,839,552 different pizzas. Just not, all at the same time.
Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
So that's another thing about your books that really appealed to me is the feel. They feel like a nice book to read. And then you get into the story and it's great.
Thank you.
So rocking and rolling with that. Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9222 9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word. Now, in your questionnaire, I asked you for your perspective on something people may not understand about you. And I wanted to kind of quote you on this. I thought it was really good. Or about you and your business. And you said it's very emotionally taxing to release books. It's literally a brain baby. I love that description. That is released into the wild and people love to pick it apart. It's hard to get over the hurdle of people's opinion. All you want is for your work to be loved, but not every book is for everyone. And we kind of touched on that earlier. Mm-hmm. But, negativity, essentially what I get out of that is it's hard for people to understand the effect that negativity has, not only on just you and personally, but these, when you go leave a bad review on something that maybe just wasn't for you, it doesn't mean it's a bad book. Maybe it just wasn't for you for whatever reason. You're really affecting that person's livelihood, no matter who it is.
I'm not opposed to bad reviews. I think it's just, it hurts. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they can always be worded differently. I didn't like a book that I read a few weeks ago. It was a very, very popular book, not an indie book, but I don't like friends to lovers. Yeah. That is not a trope that I enjoy. Yeah. And so I didn't like it for that reason. And so I've talked about it. I'm like, if you like friends to lovers, if you've loved the other stories in this series, you are going to love this book. But it's just not for me. Yeah. And I feel like people can just be more tactful, but Goodreads, which is the place where authors go to die,
I love it.
That's what it is. It's a competition on who can write the most scathing review and hurt people the most. And I feel like that is such a huge thing that people don't realize. Authors are leaving, where people are quitting because people are expecting us to put out books faster. They're expecting an alternate ending. They're expecting you to not end a book a certain way. And they're mad when they're not getting what they perceive to be, I guess, they're mad because they don't understand why an author is not listening to them, or it's our stories. Yeah. It's my story.
Yeah, that's right.
And the only person's opinion that I listen to are my beta readers and my editor. Yeah. And everybody else, I just kind of have to, I'll read the constructive criticism because I get it. Some people said, I feel like these could have been 2 books. Okay. So I will look into it as I'm writing my other books. Where did I describe too much? Where did I not describe enough? So I do like hearing those things, but I don't like it in a way that people are mean.
Yeah.
You can give criticism. You can help an author, but there's no reason to pick somebody apart.
No, it's not constructive at that point.
Right.
Because that person just goes, mm-hmm. They either tune it out or they take it so personal that it has the wrong effect anyway. There's a way to be constructive and tell someone you could have done tactful. This better. Yeah. Right. Or maybe this, maybe in the future you should do this. There's another thing to attack somebody. They're 2 totally different things.
Right. Or I love getting messages from my readers. If you see a grammatical error, just message the author.
Right.
I can't tell you how many authors out there would rather get a message about hey, a typo or something missing than to get this scathing review. And you can't reply to reviews on Amazon. You can't say, hey, I saw your review and I edited it and I edited the book again, or I had it run through again. Editing is so expensive and things slip through the cracks. I mean, we're human.
Yeah. And everything is expensive. I mean, look, there's an ISBN number on the back of a lot of books, and people would be surprised to know that's probably one of the most expensive parts of writing.
It's $80 a book around there, and probably the cost went up since I looked last. And that's another reason why I've been exclusive with Amazon for so long, is because they've offered me more, but they've decided to not offer as much lately. So yeah. I am looking at going wide and being on other platforms. I'm looking at Barnes & Noble, and I'm looking at I don't like exclusivity. that Amazon offers. So
Yeah.
I would like to branch out. I feel like I'm missing a large group of readers
I agree.
because people hate Kindle or people hate Kindle Unlimited. So I'm ready to branch out.
You definitely, and that would be some advice I would give anyone is definitely diversify, because look, in this podcast we do audio versions and we do audio video versions. Why do we do that? Because we have listeners that listen only on Apple Podcast, and we have people that watch on YouTube, or maybe they listen on YouTube. But we're not going to alienate and not do video because we're alienating our YouTube audience at that point. So we do both. We
Right.
give people options. Some people, they don't like Amazon. I mean, maybe they're just people that don't, they're local book supporters. And those people want to support local businesses. They want to go into a bookstore local and buy your book. Mister, and you know who I'm talking about, Cavalier. In that situation, you want to make sure that you're available to anyone. You never want to be unavailable to someone that wants to read your book or listen to your book. And that brings me to another point. Books have changed, right? It used to be you wanted a book, you either went and ordered it off Amazon, or you went into Barnes and Noble and you got a book. Now you can listen to them, right?
Yeah,
you can,
audiobooks.
Yeah, so when you first really found your stride in writing, was audiobooks a big thing at that point, or did it kind of did you kind of see that transition?
Audiobooks became really popular over the last few years, at least like in the indie world.
Yes.
So I saw all these authors people are telling me, I don't want to read your book unless I can listen to it. I'm sorry.
Some people are like that.
And hey, that's totally okay. I'm not dogging, but it is so expensive. Like $250 per finished hour. And sometimes more. The male narrators are so expensive.
Yeah.
It's like they know they've got this masculine, beautiful voice. And they're like,
thank you for that, by the way.
and so they know, I've got the goods, and this is what female readers want.
Yeah.
And so it's like the female gaze.
Yeah. Yes.
So I mean, it's very expensive, but so that's why I didn't do it for so long.
Yeah, interesting.
And also I have so many books that I didn't know where I wanted to start either.
Well, we record audiobooks right here at Local Leaders
do,
the
I know.
Podcast. and we'd love to narrate even. And we're not nowhere near that cost, I can tell you. Dane Arnold with iTrade Exchange has been enabling small business in the Livingston Parish area to save cash through his network of over 300 participating Livingston Parish businesses. Saving cash by trading services with other exchange members is what iTrade Exchange is all about. For more information, contact Dane Arnold at 225-205-3640 or visit iTradeExchange.biz. But it has definitely become like something people are doing, listening to books. Look, life is getting busier. People don't have the time they used to sit down and read a physical book, even on a Kindle. They want to listen to it while they're in traffic. Quite frankly,
I like listening to audiobooks in the car. I like listening to audiobooks while I'm folding laundry. Yeah. Because I can't fold laundry and read. That just takes a lot of focus. I probably could do it, but look, I'm not an overachiever in that way.
Yeah, well, with me, I'm just so ADD. It's like I have to be doing something while I'm doing something while I'm doing something.
I feel that.
And I can put them headphones in and listen to a book and I don't know, wash clothes or whatever I'm doing at that particular time. And kill two birds with one stone.
And then pick up in the physical book
a
little bit later.
Yeah. And I do that. I actually will listen to an audiobook and have the physical book.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. It's very common.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't think that. I thought I was weird.
No, you're not weird.
Why do I have the physical book when I'm listening?
That's
But I just feel like I got to have both.
I have my editor. She listens and reads the physical book, make sure everything lines up perfect.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So, question here. Do you have any books available on audio formats?
Yes. So Take Me, which is the first book in the Crimson Pack trilogy, it released on Audible, and I think it's on iTunes. There's a few different places that it's at.
Yeah.
It released like a few months ago.
Oh, very good.
And the second one, Redeem Me, is actually in production right now.
Excellent. So you look at her go. Look at her go.
It was a little bit more difficult because I have 3 points of views. I like to write dual point POV. So
that's interesting.
I had a different. So Tracy in this series, she gets her own book, The Witch and the Wolf, which releases next month. But or this month. It's this month.
It's this month. 20th. The 20th
Yes,
of this
the
month.
20th.
Look at me.
But I wanted a woman of color because that is what Tracy is. So I searched high and low, and I found a great narrator, and so that's why I've got one who speaks for Jade, and one who speaks for Rafe, and one who speaks for Tracy. So it's a little bit more.
Great set of names too. Rafe.
I know.
That's
I love that name.
I don't think I've ever heard that. Rafe.
Really?
Yeah, I like that name. I dig that. So there you go, people. If you're interested in audio version, she does have some, and hopefully more. To be
working
released
on it.
as they go along. She's
Yes.
working on it. What about like Kindle folks out there? If they want to get your books,
They're all on Kindle Unlimited. They're
Kindle.
all on Kindle.
Good.
Some of them you just have to buy the ebook, but most of them are on Kindle Unlimited. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Now, I also in your questionnaire asked you some ways in which you kind of stand out in your writing. And I want to quote that too, because it was very good. You said, I want to say authenticity. No matter what I am true to myself. You missed a comma.
Sorry.
Or I want to add one there, one of the two.
Sorry.
No matter what, I am true to myself, my books, and my brand. I don't hide I don't hide behind my phone or my computer screen. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I put myself out there, not just my books. It's me. And that's what you're doing today. Like a lot of authors, they're not comfortable kind of coming out of the shadows, right?
Yeah, it's a profession where you stay behind your computer. In the indie world, we have book signings all the time.
Yeah.
I tried to sign up for as many as I physically could this year. I was so excited to get out there and meet readers and new people, and I love meeting people. But
I can see that.
That is not very common. Most authors do not want to meet new people. They're just content with writing the book, getting it out, and that being it. They're predominantly introverts.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm an amnivert. Like I'm both introverted, extroverted. Like there's some things about myself. Yeah,
you have a good vocabulary. Imagine that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So speaking of that, speaking of meeting, your fans and things of that nature, have you ever met any famous authors that you were like, oh my gosh?
I met Kelly Armstrong.
Okay.
She is a huge author, and her books got me through high school. They kept me, it was my escapism. And they fueled me. And I met her at Ball Gowns and Books event in Sydney, Australia in 2020, right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
We were literally on the plane when it was announced that it was a pandemic coming home.
Oh, very good.
We're like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Don't land.
The world is ending.
Yeah.
We're all over the ocean, and we're like, what's going on? So I met her, and I cried.
Yeah,
It's like, you changed my life. She changed just how I saw the book world, because she writes adult paranormal, but she also wrote young adult paranormal as well.
Okay.
So I saw how she wrote like heart novels pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I cried and I was like, can I please hug you? And she's like, sure. And I know that she was so taken back, but that was like my headlining like author experience. But I have really, really good friends. My husband, when I was writing the questionnaire, and I said, well, who influences me? Like, who? And he's like, well, you have some really big authors that you're really good friends with. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, but like, do they? But I don't want to say that they influence me.
Right.
Like, because I think that it's just there's so many people. But I have some really good author friends who I call them like my book besties.
Yeah.
And they make like $50,000 a month off of their books. So I would say like that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I mean, they're successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
Very good. And right. And you know, in life, you either have one or the other. You have positive influences or negative influences. And you know, you can kind of see that you become kind of who you surround yourself with sometimes, right?
There is some type of something that backs it up that says you are the 5 people you hang out with.
Yeah.
So like me and my husband, we have become the same person.
Yeah.
He's super weird and I'm more standoffish now. And like my best friends, we're all readers. They're either authors or they're readers. And I'm sorry, but if you're not one of those, it's really hard to be friends.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm a reader. So.
Good.
So, you know, another thing on that point is that we were just talking about, because I just thought of this, but a good example of that is if someone is, let's say it's a lady and she's going through a divorce and she's got like 4 friends and you know, she's talking about this and always complaining about her husband. Well, the next thing you know, her problems become your problems. I used to tell people that all the time. I don't let other people's problems become mine.
Right.
I can't own that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got my own things I'm dealing with.
The
I
people
can't
who
own
complain will always complain. And like, I don't want to, I try to stay around really positive people. Like if people talk a lot of drama, I'm kind of like, I can be petty.
Oh, sure. All of us can. All of us.
But I can't surround myself in it. It'll drag me into this deep, dark pit, and I can't afford to go to that place. I have attempted suicide too many times. Like, my mental health is so freaking important to me. I can't afford to.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Let somebody else drag me down to their dark place.
That's
like,
right.
I'm sorry, but your issues, like I will give advice, but if all you do is rant and complain, chances are you're going to stay there. You can't live a happy, positive life if your mind is riddled with negativity and hatred.
You're digging a deeper hole for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta climb out. Anyway, like you gotta dig out, whatever. You can't stay there.
Yeah.
Like, somebody told me that once. You can be upset and you can unload and unpack, but you can't stay there. You keep your suitcase out and you be ready to leave. You can have your pity party, but you're just not allowed to stay there. You can't live there. Yeah.
Love it. And great advice. For sure. You know, and so many people need to learn that it's okay. It's okay to have the moments, but don't sit there.
Right.
You know, have your moment. And then it's time to get up, dust yourself off, and get back in the game.
Right.
And
it's like getting back on the horse.
Yes, 100%. I love that. So how valuable would you say social media has been in your business?
So freaking valuable. Oh my gosh. I can't. When I saw that question on the questionnaire, I was like, oh my gosh. I have never, I don't think anything else could have helped me. Like, it helped with my makeup business when I was doing that. I gained a massive following and a massive platform just from makeup and going live and talking to people and making posts about my infertility and things that we were experiencing in our lives, just relatability. And so when it was time for my books to really be my all, social media just took it.
Yeah.
There was nothing that like really held back at that point. It just soared. I actually wouldn't have known about the Louisiana Indie Author Project competition. I can't even remember who tagged me on it, but the East Baton Rouge Library had made a post about it.
Yeah.
And somebody tagged me on it, and I was like, I'm doing it.
Yes.
And I got them the letter in the mail, like, hey, you won. I was like,
as you should have.
What?
Very good.
What? Who, me? No.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You that good. And
I wouldn't have known without social media.
No, you wouldn't have. And you know, for an indie author, social media is the equalizer, right? To me, looking on the outside, looking in, I see that as your way of being as big as a John Grisham or as big as a Stephen King or you name it. I mean, you can compete on that level, right? Because you're
all
promoting
about money.
Well, it is, and you've got to spend a little money on social media as well in order to boost those posts and things. But you can get your message out completely free. Mm-hmm. All it is relying on those people to share it for you.
Word of mouth is a huge thing.
Huge.
A friend of mine actually made a post about one of my books the other day. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know she was reading it. I'd given it to her for free, like, I don't know, in October. So she made a post about it, and I sold 17 books that day. And that is one of my books that it's my backlist. It does not sell. And I like looked at my numbers last night and I was like, what the heck? I was like, it had to have been that because like it was only transfixed.
Yeah.
And that is what she'd been reading.
Yeah.
So, if you are a business owner and you're not implementing social media, you are doing yourself and your business the biggest disservice. Like,
huge.
You have to. That is where people are at. That is what people are doing. That is where people are looking for their news, their entertainment.
It's the first thing they pull up in the morning when they wake up. Believe it, accept it or not, say it's crazy or not. It's probably not, but it doesn't matter. People, that's what they do.
That is the statistic.
And if you want to reach them, you better get on Facebook. You better TikTok, learn about
Instagram,
it. Hire you a social media person, whatever you got to do. But get on social media.
Yeah. I did it all myself from the bottom up.
100%. And do a podcast.
Yeah.
That I highly recommend.
Yes.
Fit Blends of Denham Springs can help you with everything from meal prep to supplements. I love it that they serve breakfast all day in addition to the best ultra healthy wraps you can really get anywhere in Livingston Parish. They are home of the $5 Smoothie Friday and are an amazing sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Fit Blends Denham Springs, fast, fit food for you. So now, one of the other ways in which you can get out is through book signings, as you discussed, and of course, being a local podcast, and we always promote local things, local authors, things like that. I can see you at the fact that you're not at the library just signing books like crazy till your hand hurts, you get carpal tunnel doing it, just blows my mind because you are such an amazing author. You have accomplished so much. I mean, 21 books, folks. I'm going to say it again. She's got a great one coming out. And one thing I'm going to do is we're going to introduce you to the director of the Livingston Parish Libraries, who is a personality all in and of itself. Trust me,
I love those
he
kinds
knows who
of people.
He is. But we're gonna because I think he can help kind of get that message out where it's convenient for people to come to you and meet you. You're such an amazing personality. And so excited to do that and help you out any way I can there. Now, all of this stuff this young lady does. And guess what? She has time for another company, right? So she also has a publishing company called Nightshade Press. Nightshade Press.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So when I set out a few years ago to publish books, I thought I'm going to be in every bookstore and I'm going to do the things and I am going to be successful and I'm not going to stop until I get there. And I approached a local bookstore and I was told, well, you can do consignment because those ISBN numbers are expensive and I already had a few books out. And look, it's expensive to get the cover. It's expensive to do the edits. It is expensive to market everything that goes into one book, and people pay $3.99 for an ebook and like $14.99 for a paperback. It takes a lot to recoup those numbers.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I could not afford an ISBN. Like at the end of the day, I was like, my books aren't selling that well. Like it was family and friends.
Yeah.
And so I just thought I can't like it's not feasible. Anything else and bills aren't going to get paid. So I said, okay, well, I can't offer what the local bookstore wants. They want an ISBN and they want to be able to have a return policy on their books, which is typical. It's very common in bookstores. If a book doesn't sell, like, hey.
Which is still weird to me, even though it's typical, because I'm like, I mean, what if somebody reads the book in 3 days and brings it back and says, I want to return it? I mean, not that everybody's like that, but I mean, to me, it's like.
It's trending on TikTok right now.
They don't have return policies on like underwear. Why would they have it on a book?
Well, hey, people read the entire
I don't know.
series.
Maybe it's a weird comparison, but that's what I think of. I mean, you can't. People think you worn drawers and then bring them back. Anyway.
Well, so I think it's just mainly they want a return policy on a book if the books have not sold. Like if they're just sitting there. But Amazon is the only retailer who allows ebooks to be returned.
Okay.
So I've had people come and they've read every single book in the series. I see it. There's no way that somebody's returning all 3 books. You've read all 3 books and you return it. No, it's different if you read a third of the book and you're like, this isn't for me and you want to return it. Please don't return books that you've read completely.
Yeah.
It's stealing. Literally, Amazon takes money from us when that happens.
Wow.
Yeah, I've logged on and had a negative balance before. And I'm like, oh, I love you. I love y'all so much. But yeah, so they wanted the return policy. And at the time, I was small potatoes.
Well, you're not anymore.
And so I could not offer that. So last year I sat down with my husband and I was like, all right, so how can I do this? How can I get in there? How can what can I do? So my husband had started in like a small automotive business at that time, which he's not doing now. He was like, I hate working on other people's vehicles, never again. But so I saw him do like his LLC and doing all the things that he needed to do. And I was like, okay, I can do it too. So I said I'm gonna sit down with an entertainment lawyer and I'm gonna get forms filled, like, I'm gonna find out the
legalities
of what I need to offer these local bookstores so that I can get my books in there.
Yes.
So I can have them printed, sent to myself, and then I can distribute them.
Yes.
So that's why I did that. And then I started doing stickers and I opened up an Etsy
I saw that
business.
I saw that. I saw your cute little stickers. I actually looked at your Etsy store yesterday.
Oh my gosh. It hasn't
check it out on Etsy.
Yeah, it hasn't been as much lately because we moved and
sure,
moving takes everything out of you. But so I wanted something that I could do merch. Being a reader, because I'm a reader first.
Yeah.
It is the experience.
That's
it
right.
is the cover art. I have like character art done. It is just everything. I've seen authors who'd put art in the books who there's a whole thing, and I'm like, wow, it's so expensive, but I love it.
Yes.
So it's about the experience. And when I set out with Nightshade Press, I said, I want the full experience. I want to do merch. I want to have sweatshirts. I want to have the gang, you know,
yes,
like in search of alpha male, or, you know, like just stuff like that. Enemies to lovers sweatshirts, like looking for my enemy, whatever. I wanted I just wanted it to come full circle. So when I started that, it was just mainly just to get my name out there some more.
Yeah. You're a smart chick.
Thanks.
Very good. And look, that's diversifying. That is probably one of the top 3 keys to business is always diversify. Always have a method of, if this part of your business isn't clicking at that time, this one may be. And that's just your natural business acumen kicking in.
And for me, it's do or die. Like this is it. This
ain't no die.
This is
It's just do.
Yeah.
It's just do. You're not a quitter. There's no doubt about
but like
that.
that's like the thought process is like, if I don't do this, if I don't sell books, if I don't like keep going, it will affect me. It'll affect my family. You know, like this is my livelihood. This is my legacy.
Ooh, I like that. Sounds like a book.
Yeah.
Yes. And let me ask you, because believe it or not, we've been going an hour and 10 minutes already. It seems like about 5 minutes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this. How much do you love writing? Someone asked you.
It's in my blood. It is my lifeblood. It is everything that I am. I honestly, I don't think it's a love at this point. I think it's just me.
Yeah.
And I love me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're awesome. Who couldn't love you? Yeah. So,
well, people say I'm obnoxious. So.
Well, you know.
Oh,
well, don't listen to them. I can tell you, I'm absolutely honored to have you on. I think you're a person, a unique person.
Thank you.
In every way, shape, or form, and you're a huge asset to this community. I'm proud to have met you and consider you a friend.
Thank you.
And really we're just kind of starting. You can come back on here anytime you want.
Oh my
I'd
gosh.
love to have you on. But we're gonna help you any way we can to kind of use our contacts to maybe get you out there a little further in the community, because I think it all kind of starts in your community and branches out from there.
Well, I don't feel like I'm as known in the community. I feel like I have readers in Australia.
Yeah.
Readers, my biggest market is in the UK.
Yeah.
I make more money there, but I feel like I made it when somebody on Facebook I didn't know, I was commenting in a group, like a weight loss group.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're the one who writes those books."
Yeah.
And I was like,
you are.
"Oh my gosh, yes, that's me." But like, yeah, so I don't feel like I'm well known here in the community, because I feel like I've put myself out so much on social media, and I don't have a lot of friends who are local.
Right.
So it is a little bit harder to get local when you're just focused on getting your name out there.
Absolutely. 100%. And it's all steps. So, and we're going to help you through those steps here.
Thank you so much.
And all of that sort of stuff. So again, I appreciate you coming on. Love for you to come on soon, because there was so much I did not cover. Now I do want to say, long
story and long-winded.
Yeah, what I do want to, but a beautiful story, and it was great. I do want to say you have a brand new book coming out. You kind of touched on it earlier, on the 20th, The Witch and the Wolf.
Yes, the Crimson Pack Rogues.
The Crimson Pack Rogues. So y'all look for that. I'm going to link all the information you need to the description of this episode. So all you got to do is scroll down, click. Where can they find you on Facebook?
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Goodreads.
Yep.
Where the place that authors go to die.
Very good.
Everywhere. I'm just about everywhere.
Just about everywhere. So just Google it.
Yes.
A. Lonergan.
Yeah, Lonergan.
Lonergan. Doggone
It's okay. It's okay.
I want to say Lone.
I know. You say it like you spell it.
Lonergan. I'm going to get that for the next episode. So thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
I do want to thank all the listeners, viewers, and the sponsors for all you do for us here at Local Leaders Podcast. We could not do any of this without all of you Really, we appreciate it. And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman, reminding you, love your community, support local business and local authors, just like this young lady sitting across from me, and keep leading. Thank you very much.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.